The air inside Fort Hughes Strategy Hall felt tense, heavy, and too quiet for a room full of soldiers. Cadets stood at attention in perfect rows, backs straight, boots lined in flawless formation. The walls were lined with decades-old medals, photos of generals long retired, and flags that had survived. More wars than anyone in the building, but today wasn't a day for ceremony. Today was evaluation day. And standing in the front, hands folded behind her back, was a woman the cadets didn't recognize, compact, athletic, completely calm, and carrying an aura that didn't match her size. Lieutenant Commander Alina Ward. She wore her fatigues with a confidence that looked effortless, not cocky, not loud, just precise. The cadets whispered among themselves as soon as she walked in. Who is she? New instructor. She looks too young. I bet she's here to observe, not teach. No way. She's a seal too small. The doubts spread like wildfire until the double doors slammed open. General Marcus Thorne entered, a tall, sharp-faced man with decades of rank etched into the lines on his face. His medals clinked against his uniform as he walked, his boots hitting the polished floor like small explosions, and as always, arrogance walked in with him. The cadet stiffened. Thorne approached the front, paused, and looked Alina up and down. Then he smirked. And who, he said loudly, allowed the little princess into my evaluation hall? Snickers murmured through the room. Alina didn't flinch. Didn't blink, didn't break posture. I'm Lieutenant Commander Alina Ward, sir, she said evenly. Assigned to evaluate combat response discipline. Thorne raised an eyebrow. Oh, discipline? He stepped closer. You look more like someone who teaches yoga on weekends. The room stiffened with uncomfortable laughter. Cadet Ramirez whispered, he's gonna eat her alive. Cadet Holt smirked. She'll quit before lunch. Thorne walked circles around her, inspecting her like she was a cadet who'd wandered into the wrong building. What branch did you say? He asked mockingly. Navy, MMH, he nodded slowly. And your qualification? Special operations, sir. Thorne's face twisted into a grin. No, no, you're joking. He turned to the soldiers. A Navy SEAL, he said dramatically, pointing at her. This little thing, the cadets chuckled. Thorne stepped right in front of her. He leaned in too close. Don't kid yourself, sweetheart, he whispered loudly enough for everyone to hear. SEALs aren't ballerinas. Still, Alina didn't react. She let him talk, let him dig his own grave. The hair grabbed. Thorne stepped behind her, then suddenly grabbed a fistful of her hair and yanked her head back. Cadets gasped. A few officers exchanged shocked looks. You wanna pretend to be tough? Thorne said, leaning over her shoulder. Then show us. Hit me, I dare you. Alina didn't move. Her voice stayed cold and controlled. Release me, sir. Oh, so the princess gives orders now? His grip tightened. Cadet Ramirez clenched his jaw. This isn't right, Holt elbowed him. Mind your business. Thorne yanked harder, bending Alina's neck at an angle that would have made anyone else cry out. But she didn't. She inhaled slowly, calculated, patient. Last chance, she said quietly. Release me. Thorne laughed. What are you gonna do? Dance at me? He didn't finish. Because in half a second, so fast no one saw the transition, Alina twisted her wrist, trapped his elbow between her forearm and bicep, dropped her weight, and flipped the 200-pound general clean over her shoulder. He crashed onto the floor with a violent thud that echoed through the entire hall. Cadets jumped back, officers gasped. Thorne howled in pain as Alina knelt beside him, immobilizing him with a textbook-perfect joint lock. Her voice never rose. You grabbed a superior officer without consent, she said calmly. Violation of conduct, abuse of authority, physical coercion during evaluation. His face reddened with humiliation. Get off me. You will remain still, she said sharply, tightening the lock until he froze. Or your elbow will dislocate. Cadet stared in complete shock. She continued. And for the record, she added, leaning down to meet his eyes, I don't dance, then I train elite units to survive battles you've only read about. She released him and stood up. Thorne groaned, clutching his arms, struggling to get up. The room stayed silent, not a breath, not a whisper. The reveal. Alina stepped forward, pulled a folder from her uniform, opened it, and laid document on the front table. Authorization from the Department of Defense, she said. Effective immediately. I have full authority over every evaluation on this base. She looked directly at Thorne. And over you, cadets whispered intensely now. No way, she outranks him. That can't be real. Holy, she's legit. Alina continued. I am one of 8 officers selected for the SEAL Integrated Joint Combat Program. Her voice hardened. I trained units in 3 conflict zones, led 3 Halo operations, survived 2 ambushes, and I have logged more combat hours than every officer in this building combined. Thorne stumbled to his feet. He winced. This is overstepping, she cut him off. You assaulted a superior officer in front of 40 witnesses. Silence. If I press charges, she added calmly, your career ends today. Cadets stared at her like she was a legend from a movie. Thorne looked around and saw 40 pairs of eyes watching him with disgust. He straightened his uniform, trying to regain dignity, but his voice cracked. What do you want? Alina stepped closer, just one step. I want respect for every woman you've dismissed, mocked, or underestimated. Thorne swallowed hard. And I want you She said to apologize to this platoon for setting a disgraceful example. He stared at her, then looked at the witnesses. He had no choice. He bowed his head. I apologize, he muttered. Alina didn't blink. Louder. I apologize, he repeated. Cadets exchanged wide-eyed looks. Some smiled, some looked away. To hide the shock, Alina finally gave a small nod. Good, now get off my field. Thorne stiffened his jaw but obeyed, limping toward the exit. The room remained frozen until the doors shut behind him. Then, without hesitation, the entire platoon snapped to attention and saluted her. Alina turned, calm as ever. Move to the training yard, she said. We're not done. Today you learn what real discipline looks like. And just like that, every cadet followed her like she was the most respected operator they had ever seen. The training yard buzzed with a nervous energy the cadets had never felt before. A few minutes ago, they watched a general, a man feared for decades, get folded like laundry by a woman half his size. Now she stood at the front of the formation. Lieutenant Commander Alina Ward, the SEAL who had just rewritten the balance of power on the base. As she walked across the dirt field, the cadets straightened like steel rods, trying not to blink, breathe, or embarrass themselves. Form a circle, Alina said. Her voice wasn't loud. It didn't need to be. They obeyed instantly. She stepped into the center and unbuttoned her sleeve cuffs, rolling them neatly past her forearms. Today's lesson, she announced, is simple. Her eyes swept across every cadet. Respect is earned through discipline, not rank, not size, not intimidation. A few cadets flinched, knowing those words were aimed straight at General Thorne's ghost. Still lingering in the air, Alina pointed at the closest soldier. You step in. It was Cadet Holt, one of the loudest hecklers earlier. His face paled. Me? Yes, you. He gulped and stepped forward. Alina tossed him a training knife, rubber, lightweight, but still enough to cause bruises. Attack me. What? No, ma'am, attack me, she repeated calmly. Holt looked around for support, but no one dared intervene. He swallowed and charged clumsily, swinging the knife like a kid trying to swat a fly. Alina barely moved. She pivoted sideways, snatched his wrist, twisted, and sent him flipping onto his back in one seamless motion. Thud, the other cadets winced. Holt lay on the ground groaning. Alina crouched beside him. You swing like a man who thinks strength comes from shouting, she said coolly. Get up. Holt rose shakily. Again, he hesitated, then lunged. She caught his shoulder, redirected his momentum, and slammed him lightly but decisively onto the ground again. The circle of cadets stared in awe. Alina stood. You lack discipline, but you can learn. She extended a hand and pulled him up. Holt looked stunned, confused, and then ashamed. I'm sorry. For earlier, ma'am, he muttered. I misjudged you. Alina gave him a curt nod. Good. Growth begins with owning your mistakes. She turned toward the others. Next, Cadet Ramirez stepped forward without waiting. Permission to go next, ma'am. A few cadets glanced at him, surprised. She nodded. Proceed. Attacked with control, using regulated speed and proper stance. Alina blocked, parried, and neutralized him without slamming him, instead using his force against him and letting him tumble safely. You respect the craft, she told him. Good foundation. Ramirez smiled faintly, proud of the acknowledgement. One by one, every cadet stepped in, and every cadet learned a personalized lesson. No humiliation, no ego, just pure, refined skill. What they discovered was simple. Alina Ward wasn't here to embarrass anyone. She was here to build them into better soldiers than they believed they could be. The general returns the drills continued another 30 minutes before a shadow fell across the training yard. A cold, heavy shadow, General Thorne. His arm was in a sling, his pride was in 1,000 pieces, and his temper was sharp enough to cut through steel. He marched across the dirt, ignoring every protocol he himself used to enforce ruthlessly. Lieutenant Commander Ward, he barked. The cadets froze. Alina didn't move. She finished demonstrating a sweep, helped the cadet up, and only then turned to Thorne. General, we need to talk, he said through clenched teeth, his voice cracked with fury. Privately, no. Yard fell silent again. Thorne blinked. Excuse me? I said no. Anything you need to say can be said here, Alina replied. You assaulted me publicly. You will address your consequences publicly. Murmurs spread through the formation. Thorne's jaw tightened. You embarrassed me in front of my men, he hissed. Alina stepped forward. You embarrassed yourself. Gasps. Holt whispered. Oh, she's not scared of anything? Thorne's voice rose. You think you can walk in here with your little badges and General Thorne, she cut him off sharply. I have your entire record here. She held up a folder. I know. Every complaint filed against you, every reprimand covered up, every soldier you humiliated to make yourself feel powerful. Thorne's eyes widened. How dare you? You grabbed my hair in front of witnesses. You violated federal conduct. You crossed a line. She stepped closer, inches from him. You are unfit to lead. The cadet's breath stopped. Thorne's face turned red. You want my rank, don't you? He spit. That's what this is. Alina shook her head slowly. I want accountability. Her voice dropped, not loud but lethal. And I want every man and woman you've crushed to know they are finally safe. Thorne stiffened. You wouldn't? I already did, she said, handing him a sealed envelope. This is your suspension, effective immediately. He tore it open. His eyes scanned the document. His entire face collapsed. You ruined me. Alina didn't blink. You ruined yourself. He looked at the cadets. At the soldiers he once commanded, not a single one looked back with sympathy. Not one. Thorne lowered his head and turned away, walking slowly, painfully out of the yard. This time nobody saluted him. The cadets transformed. A long silence settled over the field. Then Alina spoke. Listen carefully. Every cadet leaned forward. A leader who rules through fear is not strong, he is weak. She paced the circle. But a soldier who protects others, even when disrespected or doubted, that is true strength. She stopped. You will become those soldiers. Her voice gained breath of emotion for the first time. I didn't come here to show you I'm a SEAL. I came to show you what you can become if you stop letting cowards like Thorne dictate who you are. Cadet Ramirez swallowed hard. Holt wiped his forehead, looking both proud and embarrassed. Alina continued, you are not just trainees. You are the future backbone of this country's defense, and as long as I am here, you will learn to fight with honor, not arrogance. She pointed to the obstacle course. Line up. We begin the endurance course now. The cadets did. Hesitate, they ran, not because they feared her, because they respected her so deeply they never wanted to disappoint her. The final test by sunset, their bodies were shaking from exhaustion. But Alina wasn't done. She led them to the ridge overlooking the mountains, the same rooftop Thorne once forced cadets to jump from. She faced them. Today you faced humiliation, fear, pressure, and injustice. Now you face your last test. She pointed to the edge, not to jump, to trust. The cadets exchanged looks. She stepped to the edge and turned her back to the drop, fall backward. Ma'am, Ramirez gasped. She nodded. You will fall backward and the platoon will catch you. They stared in disbelief. You want us to catch you? Holt asked, voice trembling. Alina smiled faintly. I trust you. It was the first time she'd said something soft all day, and somehow it hit harder than any shout ever could. She crossed her arms, leaned back, and fell. The cadets surged forward, not one, not two, all of them. They caught her safely, carefully, almost reverently. When she stood, their eyes shined with pride. You just earned your discipline patch, Alina said. Ramirez blinked. We passed, she nodded. You became a team today. The ending as they marched down the hill, the sun dipping behind the mountains, Holt jogged up beside her. Ma'am, he said quietly, I'm sorry for how I treated you earlier. Alina stopped and looked at him. You learned. That's what matters, Holt smiled. Ramirez stepped up next. Ma'am, are you staying on this base? Alina took a breath. Yes, I'm your official instructor now. Cheers erupted across the line. She shook her head, trying not to smile too wide. Settle down, you haven't survived my real course yet. More laughter. They reached the training yard. Alina raised one final command, dismissed, but not one cadet moved. Instead, they saluted her. Not because they had to, because she earned it, because she showed them what strength meant, because she became the instructor they would remember for the rest of their lives. And Alina Ward, Navy SEAL, finally allowed herself one small smile, a real one.